true scourges of the plains. Top 5 most terrifying monsters from Mordenkainen's Multiverse. We just gotta look behind the prime material plane, and the result is nausea-inducing at best and utterly maddening at worst. Mordenkainen is a legend both in and out of D&D lore. His determination to discover, as well as his strength and wit to make it back home, are well renowned. He's come across some truly terrifying creatures across the planes of existence, and today we've gathered a few of the big baddies from the new book. This is a top 5 rogues gallery, and if you can't separate your character from your player, beware. There are supreme spoilers ahead. DMs, proceed as usual. I recommend a notebook and a pencil. Welcome back to Intoxicated Intellect. I am Brady, and today with me, it's Justin.
Hi guys! Obviously, Mordenkainen presents Multiverse of Monsters, just released a couple weeks ago. There are some real heavy hitters in this book. Before we go too further, if you like our content, if you end up liking this video, be sure to tell us and click the buttons. If you really like our stuff, stick around for more. We release new videos every Monday and Thursday. Subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Mordenkainen's been a lot of places. He's seen a lot of crazy stuff, and he's seen some real horrifying deities and demigods. And he's categorized them as any good objective wizard should. He has gone out of his way to give us some stats. And the best way to kind of objectively look at this, as best we can, is to look at CR. Looking at the challenge rating, especially some of the higher numbers that I came across, you come across some big names that are very prevalent in lore and even now outside of the D&D universe. We've compiled sort of a top 5 or 6 list, and we're going to talk about who might go where in this top 5. First, I want to get started with who makes it in and who's an honorable mention. We should take a look at Grast. Grast is a large fiend. Large. Emphasis on large. Why did I lose?
But not huge, not gigantic. Large, meaning he's only going to take up a 10 foot by 10 foot space on your battle maps.
That's a nice 20 AC because, of course,
he's
a very pleasurable to look at, which is really cool about him. He's very demonic, but he can transform himself at will. So that's where the change shape bonus action comes in. He likes indulgence and debauchery. He's like Sanguine? Sanguine, I want to say, from Elder Scrolls.
Well, do you want to start going over some of the stats of him?
Yeah, let's look at these digits here. He's got 33 D10 plus 165 hit points for 346 on an average. He has a base speed of 40 feet. Here's the stat rundown, attribute rundown. Plus 6, plus 2, plus 5, plus 6, plus 5, plus 8. In order, strength to charisma. You know how it goes, folks. Dex plus 9, wisdom and con plus 12 saving throw bonuses. Deception plus 15. Insight plus 12. Perception plus 12. Persuasion plus 15. This guy sees like everything.
Pardon me while I shed some tears of joy for a monster to throw at you guys later.
He knows what's... Don't you fucking write this down. Well, you don't need to. You just have to write his name.
My pen is all the way over here. That's a lot of resistances and immunities. I'm seeing resistant to...
poisoned, charmed, your typical condition immunities.
Yeah, and he's immune to poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing that is non-magical and resistant to cold, fire, and lightning.
Speaks every language, has telepathy and true sight out to 120 feet, a passive perception of 22, CR of 24, proficiency bonus of plus 7. That's the base stats. 3 legendary resistances a day, as usual. Has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. He has a multi-attack, deals 2 wave sorrow attacks, can replace 1 attack with the use of spellcasting. So he can throw a spell at you as well. Some of those spells include Charm Person, Detect Magic, Dispel Magic, Darkness, Dominate Person, Telekinesis, Teleport, Dominate Monster, and Greater Invisibility. This guy can control the battlefield and your effects. Very effective.
And that Wave of Sorrow Greatsword that's a plus 13 to hit with a 10-foot reach, and it does 4d6 plus 4d6 plus 6 force damage, plus 4d6 acid.
Ooh.
Oh no. Oh no.
And he can teleport up to 120 feet. As I said before, he can change shape. He can use a reaction to negate a spell. It's a
Yeah,
counter spell.
that's exactly the way counter
And
spells
his
work.
spell save DC is 23. So have fun with him.
And legendary actions? Oh my. 3 of them. Abyssal magic uses spellcasting or teleport. He can attack with the Wave of Sorrow or dance my puppet. One creature charmed by him that he can see must use its reaction to move up to its speed as he directs. Oh.
So once again, it goes to the control that he can just impose on the battlefield and the negates he can throw at your spellcasters. This is a very scary, scary guy to go up against if you're a spellcaster. But remember, we're comparing him. Who are we
Yes.
comparing him to? We're comparing him to Yanogu. Yanogu is fucking terrifying. Beast of Butchery. Great Scarred Gnoll. 14 foot tall. For those of you keeping track at home, he's like the patron of the gnolls. He is the gnoll lord. All he does is roam the plains, slaughter. He kills for the killing of it. He's another huge fiend. He's a demon. Chaotic evil again, as demons are.
That photo is terrifying.
Yeah, right. You'll most likely find these guys roaming the lower planes, particularly the abyss. If you can find them at home, good luck, because they all come with layers. There's layer bonuses in the Multiverse of Monsters too that tell you what happens when you're in the realm of your enemy. And there's not just layers for some of the big guys; some of the small ones have it too. It's a really cool thing that they have in here that I noticed. Let's get to brass tacks stats on Yanogu. 20 AC again. 23 D12 plus 184 for a rough 333 hit points. He is fast. His normal speed is 50 feet. Stat rundown. Remember, he's a gnoll. He's like the angriest fucking rabid dog wolf thing ever. But he's smart too. He's pretty smart. Stat rundown. +9, +3, +8, +3, +7, +2. Saving throws, Dex +10, Con +15, Wisdom +14. So the same kind of throws we saw in Grassed.
Right. I'm seeing that the resistances and immunities and senses and language are all exactly the same as they
100%. 100% the same.
Okay. Well, let's see what makes him different, because I'm seeing he's got the 3 legendary resistance and the advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. What are his attacks?
Well, he's got a multi-attack. He makes 3 flail attacks, and that attack is +16 to hit, has a 15-foot reach, 1 target, but you can make it 3 times, so don't worry, chill out. It's 22 on a hit, or 2d12 plus 9, force damage, and if it's Yanogu's turn, he can cause the target to suffer one of the following additional effects, each of which he can only apply once per turn. The effects are as follows. Confusion, and you must succeed on a Wisdom 17 saving throw or be affected by the confusion spell until the start of Yanogu's next turn. Force, it can make you take an extra 13 or 2d12 force damage. Or be paralyzed, and you must succeed on a 17 con save or be paralyzed until again Yanogu's next turn. So that's 3 flail attacks. He can hit you with one of those once per turn, but he's still dishing out damage even if he's not throwing those effects down. It's just like whack, and that's a +16 to hit. That's
gonna be hard for him to miss.
Yeah, that 15 foot isn't so great either, because that means
even your spellcasters are gonna have a hard time staying out of range.
Yeah, because he can also bite you, and that's +16 to hit. It's got a 10-foot reach, and that does 2d10 plus 9 force damage on hit.
No, that's acid damage.
Acid damage, yeah, because he's a gnarly fucking gnoll. But wait, there's more, because
of course
Yanogu can also cast spells, requiring no material components and using Charisma with the DC 17 save. He can detect magic at will 3 times per day. He can dispel magic, cast fear or invisibility, and once per day he can teleport. And presumably Grazed spell breakdown were the same.
Yeah, they it was pretty similar.
Or frequency. There's a bonus action too, because
why not?
That's where we're at now.
Yeah, because Action Economy Wizards of the Coast finally fixed it.
When he reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack, he can move half his speed, up to half his speed, and makes a bite attack.
That's
So there's
just
a
a
bite attack
massive
as your
fuck
bonus
you.
action. Yeah, like you saw somebody just went down. Guess what? Someone else is
About to go
gonna have
down.
a really bad time. Gonna have a really, really bad time. He gets legendary actions. Can take 3, of course. Charge moves up to his speed. Swat away makes 1 flail attack. If it hits, you got a DC 24 strength saving throw, be pushed up to 15 feet in a straight line away from Yanogu. And if that save fails by 5 or more, you're also knocked prone. Savage. The other action costs 2 actions though. Makes a separate bite attack against each creature within 10 feet of him.
Do not bunch up on this guy.
So the question is, if we're going by CR, which one of these two belongs in the
Well,
top
I
5?
I think before we go over that, we gotta talk about what his layer actions are too, because those can have a massive effect on combat.
Oh yeah.
Yanogu's layer actions got a decent bit of them. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, Yanogu can take one of the following layer actions, and he cannot take the same layer action 2 rounds in a row. That not being able to take the same one 2 rounds in a row is pretty standard if a creature has layer actions.
Okay.
The first one is Incite the Pack. Until the next initiative count 20, all gnolls and hyenas within the layer are enraged, causing them to have advantage on melee attack rolls and causing rolls to have advantage against them. That's your barbarian's reckless. Iron Spike. Yanogu causes an iron spike 5 feet tall and 1 inch in diameter to burst from the ground at a point he can see within 100 feet. Any creature in the space where the spike emerges needs to make a DC 24 dex save. On a fail, yeah, just the standard 24, nothing too bad. On a fail, the creature takes 6d8 piercing damage and is restrained by being impaled on the spike. And a creature can use an action to remove itself, or a creature it can reach from the spike, ending the restrained condition. Restrained is rough. There's one called Pack Rush. Each gnoll or hyena that Yanogu can see uses this reaction to move up to its speed. Oh, and it has regional effects, because layer actions itself weren't enough, apparently. The region containing his layer is warped by his magic, creating one or more of the following effects. Savage predators. Predatory beasts within 6 miles of the lair become unusually savage, killing far more than what they need for food. Carcasses of prey are left to rot in unnatural displays of wasteful slaughter. Spiky terrain. Within 1 mile of the lair, large iron spikes grow out of the ground and stone surfaces. Yanogu impales the bodies of the slain on those spikes. And if Yanogu were to die, these effects fade over a course of 1d10 days. That's a lot. If your party's going to fight him in his lair, you potentially have to deal with 6 miles of enraged beasts.
There is a lot to get through to get to him. Man.
Yeah.
So let's see what Grast has.
Yeah.
On that initiative count of 20, he could take one of these, can't take it 2 rounds in a row. Cast the command spell on every creature of his choice in the lair. He needn't see each one, but he has to be aware that an individual is in the lair to target that creature.
Mm-hmm.
He issues the same command to all targets.
That's potentially an entire round of telling the party to halt, and he just goes ham.
You can conjure mirrors, and smooth surfaces within the lair become as reflective as a polished mirror. And until a different layer action is used, creatures within the lair have a disadvantage on stealth checks made to hide.
Sorry, rogues.
Yep, I can see around every corner because every corner is made of a mirror. There's also the regional effects here. Agitated beasts, again. Wild beasts break into frequent conflicts and coupling, mirroring the behavior that occurs during their mating seasons. So they're agitated like that instead of just killing. Beguiling realm within 6 miles of the lair, all wisdom, all insight checks have disadvantage, and all deception and persuasion checks have advantage. So it's kind of like Fey touched.
Yeah, a bit. And then more mirrors? More mirrors.
Yeah, all flat surfaces within a mile become highly reflective, as though polished to a shine. And they become supernaturally mirror-like. So looking into a tree.
And he has a spell save of 23 That means on the command action, you gotta beat a 23. I have to
So,
say, between the two of these, I gotta put Grazd in it and Yanogu just being an honorable mention right there. That spell
you know,
save DC is a huge factor in this. And yeah, he doesn't get as many attacks, but the spells he can cast: Dominate Monster, Darkness, Charm Person, Dispel Magic, Greater Invisibility. And yeah, they both have True Sight, but this one can cast Darkness. And he can negate spells. He basically not only has Dispel Magic, but Counterspell. I gotta give this
yeah,
one to Grazed.
and I got to agree with you. There's a something about Yanogu is very straightforward. Like it's very just coming right at you. It's just 100% headlong, death, destruction, slaughter. There's no cunning to it per se. It's not really his style. It's more just like just straight at you and win and carve to kill you, beat you, bludgeon you into submission.
And overall,
Graz
Grazed has better stats too.
Graz plays it more asymmetrically, and you may find yourself just absolutely taken out of the fight. Maybe just paralyzed, just stuck in one spot, unable to do anything but follow his order. And
His
there's something
lowest
scary about
saving
that.
throw has a +6, and that's his intelligence. Well, yeah, he only has a +5 con. His con saving throw is a +12 because he's proficient in it.
Yeah,
This goes to Grazed.
I agree. Sorry, Yanogu, you're still terrifying.
What's next?
I
Who do we have?
Next is the Marut. It's kind of a shoe-in for
Okay.
number 4. Challenge rating is 25. Falls right in there. It's a large construct. It's lawful neutral. It's known as an inevitable. It roams sigil. It is assigned to people who make deals and sigil to make sure that they follow through on their end of the deal. That kind of thing. So it's meant to be very, very strong, meant to be one of the strongest thing and able to keep peace amongst the planes and the deals that those amongst the planes make. It's 22 AC on this Marut. 432 hit points on average, 32 D10 plus 256. So it's a lot. 40-foot speed, 30-foot fly. It hovers.
Because why not?
Yeah, because fuck you, why not? Stat rundown: +9, +1, +8, +4, +2, +4. That very strong. It's gonna take a lot to hit it. Saving throws: intellect +12. Add on to it. It's been like tried to been tricked before. Oh wait, we're gonna go ahead and add a +10 to wisdom on saving throws as well, and we're gonna add a +12 to charisma saving throws.
As bad as it is, your best bet is to try to make him fail a con saving throw at a +8. No,
Yeah,
Dex +1.
Dex is a +1, so it's not very nimble, but it's very strong. Has skills in insight for +10, intimidation for +12, and perception for +10. So it's pretty well attuned to what's going on, and is very intimidating. Very, very intimidating. Resistant to thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical, of course. Immune to poison.
It is a construct. That makes sense, yeah.
Immune to charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and unconscious. Again, construct. Dark vision. It has dark vision. 60 foot, passive perception of 20. Knows all languages, but rarely speaks. That's what it reads.
And
Which is
proficiency
cool.
bonus of +8. And I see polymorph is not going to work on it.
Nope, because it has an immutable form and is immune to any spell or effect that would alter that form. 3 per day, legendary resistances, blah, blah, blah. Advantage on saving throws against magical effects. Doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep. Construct. The Marut makes 2 unerring slam attacks for a multi-attack as one of its actions. The unerring slam is an automatic hit, hence unerring. With a 5-foot reach, 1 target. 64 is damage, and the target is pushed up to 5 feet away from the Marut if it is huge or smaller.
I'm sorry. What?
Unerring. Unerring slam. There's the key word right there.
That's a
automatic hit.
That's a
automatic hit.
Guaranteed 120 force damage a round.
It doesn't fuck around.
Oh my
Doesn't fuck around.
god.
Can also do a blazing edict on a 5 to 6 recharge.
So it comes back every round if you roll on a d6. You have a 33% chance to get this back every round.
Yeah. Arcane energy emanates from the Marut's chest. It's a 60-foot cube. Every creature in that just takes 45 radiant damage. If you take any of that damage, you have to succeed on a 20 wisdom save or be stunned until the end of the Marut's next turn. That's
End of the
also
next turn.
that's also just a hit. That's just a hit again. And of course, 3 times per day it can plane shift. No material and components, uses intelligence as the modifier. Can cast it normally, or it can cast the spell on an unwilling creature it can see within 60 feet of it. And if it uses that latter, that option, you got a DC 20 charisma save, or you're banished to a teleportation circle in the Hall of Concordance and
Have
Sigil.
fun explaining to the Lady of Pain why you just showed up in her teleportation circle.
There are reasons this one is where it is, and I
Yeah.
think this is exactly where it belongs.
Hey, fair warning, when you go to Sigil, don't try to fight these yet.
I'm not gonna. That'd be stupid.
No, but Jake and Billy will.
It's stupid to fight it at 20.
If you have this
Get
at
down
number
with the-
4, I'm scared to see what number 1 is.
Well, see, here's the thing there, Brady. We gotta decide. Because in the multiverse, 3 beings, vicious beings, at least within this writing, stand amongst all others. They're tied for the challenge rating of 26. It's 26. There's 3 of them.
I'm literally crying in happiness right now.
So there's a few different ways we could go about this.
Just give me one and we'll start it.
It's option D. This guy's a legend, both in and out of the D&D universes, multiverses, and everything. The one, the only 2-headed baboon, reptilian, lizard, fucking weird-ass thing. It's Demogorgon, people.
Oh,
It's Demogorgon.
hell yeah. And it has more layer and regional effects. Let's fucking go, baby!
Because of course. Are 2 heads better than 1? In Demogorgon's case, the 2 double the horror and the chaos. This thing's horrifying.
You just had to keep putting demons and fiends on this list, didn't you?
Hey man, they're some of the strongest ones we've encountered in the multiverse. What do you want? They've had to fight each other for control of the abyss ever since that shard of evil made it down there. But if there's one who is considered to have risen above all the others, it's this one right here. It's a huge fiend. It's a demon. It's chaotic evil, of course. 22 AC, 464 for 32d12 plus 256. So that's the same I think we saw in the Marut. Speed of 50 feet. Can also swim 50 feet.
Point here. The AC and hit points and the speed rival that of an ancient dragon. Just throwing that out there.
That sounds about right. Still 2 legs, but can swim. Very good swimmer, apparently. Stat rundown for Demogorgon. Here we go. +9, +2, +8, +5, +3, +7. Hard to poison, and pretty charismatic. That's what you get when you got 2 heads.
Oh, and if you thought those +2 and +3 were going to be easy for your saving throws, you're wrong. You want to go over those?
Demogorgon gets 4 bonuses to saving throws for it's a 10 on Dex, 16 on Constitution saving throws. It's an 11 on Wisdom, and it's a +50. It's a 15 on Charisma.
Your best bet's to try to make him fail an intelligence saving throw, and there's not many spells to do that.
Nah, it's got +11 to Insight, +19 to Perception. Same resistances and immunities that we see with the other demons that we saw earlier. True Sight, Telepathy. The passive perception for Demogorgon, however, is 29 and gets a +8 proficiency bonus. Yeah, that's a passive perception of 29.
Mm-hmm.
You have 4 eyes looking around. This motherfucker has some scary abilities too. Your typical legendary resistances, magic resistance. Also has 2 heads. Has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, deafened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Demogorgon can multi-attack, making 2 tentacle attacks. Those are the hands. Can replace 1 attack with the use of gaze. We'll get to that in a bit. The tentacles themselves are plus 17 to hit. They have 10-foot reach. It's one target. On a hit, you get 3d12 plus 9 for about 28 force damage. And if the target is a creature, you got a 23 con save to make. Or your HP maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the damage taken. I'll say that one more time in case you're as aghast as I am. If you fail a DC 23 con, you lose an HP max by an amount equal to the damage that you take.
And that reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest.
You gotta go sleepy by before that comes back.
Oh, and you just immediately die if your hit point maximum reaches 0. No saving, no death saves, nothing. You're just dead.
Well, you can't get any health back.
Yeah.
Can ya?
No. No, you can't.
So that's 2 per turn.
You're
twice
potentially reducing a creature's maximum hit points by 56 a turn.
Demogorgon can also use Gaze, as we heard. Can replace one of those tentacle attacks with it, as a matter of fact. It could turn a magical gaze toward a creature within 120 feet of him. And you got a 23 wisdom save, or you suffer one of the following effects you choose, or for more fun, roll a d6. Because on 1-2, you get a beguiling gaze and stun the target till the end, until the start of Demogorgon's next turn, or until Demogorgon is no longer within line of sight. If he chases someone off somewhere else, that's broken. It's nice at least. There's also
point out that is a 23 wisdom save.
Yep.
Your clerics and your monk might be able to make that save. I doubt anyone else is.
A druid, maybe? Man, there's not many people that come packing wisdom that heavy. You could also, for 3 and 4, you can get a confusing gaze where Demogorgon casts confusion on him, suffers the effect. Without making a saving throw, you don't get a saving throw on this one because it's the gaze. It's essentially an eye weapon. The effect lasts until Demogorgon's next turn starts, and there's no need for Demogorgon to concentrate. Yeah, there's also a hypnotic gaze to round that gaze ability out. The target gets charmed until Demogorgon's next turn begins. And Demogorgon chooses how the charmed target uses an action, reaction, and movement. You're completely under the spell at that point. Demogorgon has spellcasting abilities beyond this as well, and can cast the following spells with the DC and Charisma as the base. DC is 23. Can detect magic and cast Major Image at will, which that's scary.
Major? Okay.
Major Image at will, yeah. 3 times per day can cast Dispel Magic, Fear, and Telekinesis. And once per day can cast Feeble Mind or Project Image. Feeble Mind is a terrifying spell. If you haven't gone and read it, I recommend you do so.
46 psychic damage, make an intelligence save. On a failed save, the creature's intelligence and charisma become 1. The creature can't cast spells, activate magic items, understand language, or communicate in any intelligible way. The creature can, however, identify its friends, follow them, and even try to protect them. At the end of every 30 days, you can repeat that saving throw. 30
That's
days.
The one right there. 30 days.
It can also be ended by Greater Restoration, Heal, or Wish. But 30 days on an intelligence saving throw.
Yep.
Wow.
Not anyone's. You're gonna have a party of like raving stupids. Just like the wizard, maybe just leading a chain of fools. Chain out of Demogorgon's lair after maybe making a deal to just have Demogorgon let them go. Demogorgon also gets 2 legendary actions and chooses from the options below. Only one at a time, end of another creature's turn, your typical verbiage. Demogorgon can use Gaze and must use either Beguiling or Confusing, so you're limited from the Hypnotic.
Probably a good thing.
That's definitely a good thing. But hey, wait, Demogorgon's got a tail, and the tail has its own attack for plus 17 to hit, has a 15-foot reach. Hits one target, of course. That hit is 2d10 plus 9 bludgeoning damage, about 20. Plus 2d10 necrotic damage. Because that's always great. I love feeling my skin rot off. It's so fun. And can cast a spell. But it costs 2 actions to do that. So that's both of them to cast one of his spells. These stats are horrifying.
Yeah. I'm
Horrifying.
gonna see how its layer actions and regional effects might benefit.
Yes, please walk us through this because I need a drink.
Yeah. So layer actions again. Initiative count 20. Losing ties. Can't take the same one 2 rounds in a row. Darkness. The Demogorgon casts the darkness spell 4 times, targeting different areas with the spell, and it doesn't need to concentrate on it. It does end on initiative count 20 for the next round, though, but that is going to be a 40 by 40 area of just darkness, because it's normally 20 by 20, so if you can either do it in a straight line, in a cube. It also gets an illusory duplicate as a layer action, and it creates a duplicate of himself, which appears in his space and lasts until initiative count 20 of the next round. On his turn, Demogorgon can move the illusory duplicate a distance equal to his walking speed. The first time a creature or an object interacts physically with Demogorgon, for example, by hitting him with an attack, there's a 50% chance that the illusory duplicate is affected and not the Demogorgon, in which case the duplicate disappears. And regional effects. Because why not? Beguiling Realm. Within 6 miles of the lair, all persuasion and performance checks have disadvantage, and all deception and intimidation checks have advantage.
It's a dirty kind of charisma. The charisma turns dirty. Instead of just being nice, glad handing, and doing a little dance, now you're
trying to lie.
Threatening harm. Yeah, you're threatening harm on people and lying your way to get it. It's a perversion of what charisma should be good for, you know? I like that flavor.
I also like how it's one or more of the following effects. You can just stack these. Frenzied Enzymes.
I didn't do it that way.
Beasts within 1 mile of the lair become frenzied and violent, even creatures that are normally docile. Within that area, any ability check involving animal handling has disadvantage. It's not the worst regional effect for your party. Not great. Venomous beasts. The area within 6 miles of the lair becomes overpopulated with poisonous snakes and other venomous beasts. And all of these effects fade over the course of 1d10 days after the death of Demogorgon. That's
really scary.
What do we have next?
We're going with Z.
All right.
Next is the fallen angel herself, warrior of the lower plains, fought so long down there that she turned into a devil, Zariel.
I see here that Asmodeus granted Zariel rulership of Avernus.
That is correct.
And was turned into an archdevil upon accepting the position?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yes, fights the war in Avernus against the demons of the abyss as they try to invade and gain some semblance of control. The eternal battlefield of the Nine Hells, Bator. Zariel is beautiful and deadly at the same time. I actually love the artwork. The artwork is, of course, from the module we all know and love, Descent into Avernus.
I realized that was Zariel.
That's her.
That's
her, my friend.
Amazing.
Yep, that's her. So we got a new stat block for her right here, complete with new actions, new balances, and stuff like that, presumably.
New layer actions and regional effects. Let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So we already know she's a large fiend. She's a devil. She's lawful evil. That's how they roll. It's a 21 AC. A little less than Demogorgon, but it's 420 hit points.
Nice. Took up, baby.
29 D10 plus 261. So pretty stacked on the die there. She has a 50-foot speed, but with her wings, fallen angel, remember, she has a 150-foot flying speed. Duck and cover if you see her swooping in. Stat rundown. Let's go. +8, +7, +9, +8, +8, +10. Ah! Ah.
Oh my god.
I'm
What
sorry.
the actual
I'm
fuck?
sorry for the volume if that doesn't get fixed in post. And I'm sorry for you in post if you are startled by that, Brady. But
Oh
that
my god.
there's nothing lacking here. And let me tell you, there's nothing lacking in these saving throws either, because you got a +16 to both intellect and charisma, or intellect and wisdom, and a +18 to charisma.
You gotta stop making me cry in happiness for the end portions of our campaign.
See, I love being in on this, because I'll watch it once, and then I'll forget about it.
Especially when
And
this
then
comes into play 3 years from now.
let's see what else she's got in store for me, later, and probably you later on down the line. Intimidation +18, perception +16, resistant to cold, fire, radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. Immune to necrotic and poison damage. Immune to conditions charmed, exhausted, frightened, or poisoned. Has dark vision to 120 foot. Has passive perception of 26. Speaks every language. Is telepathic to 120 foot. Has a +8 proficiency bonus, and she's got that CR of 26.
See, I was like, dark vision, that doesn't seem too bad. And then I went down a line and...
But wait, she's a devil now, so she's got devil's sight. Magical darkness doesn't impede the dark vision.
There it is. Yep.
She sees through that shit. 3 legendary resistances per day, of course, your typical saving throw, magic resistance. She also has regeneration and regains 20 hit points at the start of her turn. If she takes radiant damage, this trait doesn't function at the start of her next turn. Yeah, that's a resist. She was resistant to that. Yeah. If she takes radiant damage, this trait doesn't function at the start of her next turn. Zariel only dies if she starts her turn with 0 hit points and doesn't regenerate. You gotta hit her with the last shot with a radiant shot. I would really flavor her with a longsword, but she has a multi-attack and makes 3 flail or longsword attacks. She's got both of them, basically. She's just dual wielding in there. She makes 3 flail or longsword attacks and can replace 1 attack with the use of Horrid Touch, if available. Her flail is a +16 to hit. It's got 10-foot reach. It's 1 target, of course. Hit is a 2d8 +8 force damage plus 8d8 fire damage. That's 8d8 fire damage. The longsword is similarly a 16 to hit, another 10-foot reach, and it's 1 target again. It does 2d8 +8 radiant damage, or 2d8 +8 radiant damage when used with 2 hands.
2d10 plus 8.
Oh yeah, 2d10 +8. Yeah, 2d8 +8
For
one-handed.
2d10
or
plus 8.
2d10 +8 when 2 hands, plus all the time 8d8 fire damage again, presumably. But she could replace one of those attacks, one of those 3, with the use of Horrid Touch, which is a creature within 10 foot of her must succeed on a 26 con save, or take 8d10 necrotic damage and be poisoned for a minute. While poisoned in this way, the target is blinded and deafened. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. What the fuck?
So if the poisoned wasn't enough for giving you disadvantage on all your attack rolls, now you can't see and you can't hear.
She hurts a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over look at the poisoned condition real quick. Yeah. Disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks when you're poisoned, and you're blinded and deafened. Oh fuck! And it comes back on a 5 or 6 every round. Oh, and she has spell casting. Good.
Yeah, she's got those 2.
With a spell save of 26.
Yeah, for using charisma, the +10 mod. She can alter herself at will, can become medium when changing her appearance, shrink down to become a little bit more personable, presumably. Can detect evil and good, because she's part of both of them. Can cast Fireball at will. Invisibility on self at will. Major Image at will. Wall of Fire at will. Because fuck me, right? Because fuck all of us.
Fuck you, guys.
3 times per day, she can cast Blade Barrier, Dispel Evil and Good, can control that which she detects, and Finger of Death. Great.
What is Finger of Death? Hold on.
Finger of Death sends negative energy coursing through a creature, and must make a con save, so that's great. Take 78 plus 30 necrotic damage on a fail.
Or half as much on a success.
Yeah, and if you're killed by it, you're a zombie that's under the control of the killer. Uh, just as a little subtext, whatever. Just fucking throwing it away. Just throwing it away. She can teleport 120 feet.
Yeah.
Her legendary actions, of which she gets 3, typical verbiage, are teleport and immolating gaze. The immolating gaze costs both 2 of the 3 actions, or 2 actions. Turns the magical gaze toward a creature within 120 feet. And you got a DC 26 Wisdom save, or that's a 4d10 fire damage.
Oh, buddy. Let's see what happens if you're going to fight her in her lair. On initiative count 20, she casts Fireball. Okay. Yeah, just an extra Fireball in there, because why not?
What? But why?
Because fuck you, that's why.
She not only casts it at will, but she just casts it. Just even because.
She can cast Major Image 4 times, targeting different areas, and she prefers to create images of intruders' loved ones being burned alive. She doesn't need to concentrate on the spells, and it ends on initiative count 20 in the next round. Each creature that can see the illusions must make a DC 26 Wisdom save or become frightened of the illusion for a minute. A frightened creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. So even the way this is worded, even though the image only lasts for 1 round, you can be frightened of the memory for a minute.
Yeah, it's very sadistic.
Regional, holy fucking shitballs. Hellscape. The area within 9 miles of the lair is filled with screaming voices and the stench of burning meat. Pyres, once every 60 feet within 1 mile of the lair, 10-foot-high gouts of flame rise from the ground. Any creature or object that touches the flame takes 2d6 fire damage, though it can take this damage no more than once per round. But with them being 60 feet apart, I don't see you getting to those more than once per round.
Yeah. Ooh, fire! Ah! Ooh, fire! Ah!
Smoke. The area within 2 miles of the lair, but no closer than 500 feet, is filled with smoke, which causes the area to be heavily obscured, and it cannot be cleared away. And the effects fade over the course of 1d10 days if you manage to kill her. I'm immediately putting this above Demogorgon. I'm sorry. Zariel.
100%. 100%. Yes. Demogorgon is
terrifying.
Terrifying. She is horrifying. She is utterly like pit. Your stomach is on the floor.
If you see her coming towards you, you might just want to kill yourself because you don't want to fight her.
Well, there's only one. May give her a run for her money. And
yeah, let's go over it because I'm
pretty legendary.
Excited now.
Orcus, the demon prince of undeath, the blood lord.
That's a hell of a photo.
Patron of ghouls and zombies. It's the undead. Wields the legendary wand of Orcus. That is a classic. Classic.
Do you know how powerful you have to be to get a magical item named after you?
Yeah, it's an oldie, but a goodie. Let's see how Orcus stands up to the 5th edition, and specifically Mordenkainen's Multiverse. He's a huge fiend. He's a demon, of course, and that means chaotic evil, as usual. The armor class is 17, but he's always going to have his Wand of Orcus, and he's got a 20 AC when he's wielding that.
Mm-hmm.
His hit points are 405, 30d12 plus 210. 40-foot speed, 40-foot fly speed. Stat rundown. Here we go. +8, +2, +7, +5, +5, +7. Decent. Very, very, very worrisome. Along with a +10 to Dex, +15 to Con, and 13 to wisdom saves.
Hey.
It's got an yeah, 13 to a wisdom save is really good. The con save of 15. I mean, he's the Lord of Undeath. I would expect no less.
Right.
For what he deals with on a daily basis and is in charge of. But the dexterity one is very interesting for being as fat as he is. It's
Yeah,
very
this
funny.
dude be double cheeked up on a Tuesday.
Has an Arcana skill, plus 12, and a Perception of plus 12 as well. Arcana is very intriguing. I find that amusing. Perhaps we'll see why. Resistant to your typical stuff: cold, fire, lightning. Immune to necrotic, poison, and bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing that's non-magical as usual. Immune to charm, exhausted, frightened, and poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Typical. True sight 120, has a passive perception of 22. Has telepathy and speaks every language to 120 feet, and a proficiency bonus of +8.
Wow.
Again, we're talking about
Each one of these in themselves could be a campaign's BBEG.
you could make it a very, very, very good campaign arc. Orcus has 3 legendary resistances per day, of course. Magic resistance, typical. He is the master of undeath. Can cast Animate Dead at will and create undead 3 times per day. Chooses the level at which the spells are cast, he does, and the creatures remain under his control indefinitely. And he can cast Create Undead even when it isn't night.
So you're telling me not only does he get to cast them, he could just choose to cast them at max level if he really wanted to, and because he doesn't have spell slots, he just has it per day, he could cast 3 9th level Create Undeads just cuz.
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
He wields the Wand of Orcus. Makes 3 attacks with the Wand of Orcus, Tail, or Necrotic Bolt. The Wand of Orcus is a plus 19 to hit, has 10-foot reach. One target, of course. It's a club.
Mm-hmm.
More than a wand. It's 3d8 plus 11 bludgeoning damage plus 2d12 necrotic. He also has his tail attack, which is 6 plus 16 to hit, has 10-foot reach. It's one target again. It's 3d8 plus 8 force damage plus 2d8 poison damage. Necrotic Bolt is his ranged spell attack that he has, and that's plus 15 to hit, has a 120-foot range. One target, of course, and it does 5d8 plus 7 necrotic damage on a hit. You can also conjure undead once per day, and while holding the Wand of Orcus, that conjures undead creatures whose combined average hit points don't exceed 500. Those creatures rise up from the ground or unoccupied spaces within 300 feet of Orcus and obey his commands until they're destroyed or he dismisses them as an action. Orcus has some pretty decent rudimentary spellcasting.
Until you look at his 1 a day,
Yeah,
and that's just him, not his wand yet.
at will, he can detect magic. Thrice per day, he can dispel magic. And once per day, he can cast Time Stop.
And for those of you that don't know, time stop is you briefly stop the flow of time for everyone except yourself. No time passes for the other creatures while you take 1d4 plus 1 turns in a row, during which you can use actions and move as normal. The spell ends if one of the actions you use during this period or any effects that you create during the period affects a creature other than you or an object being worn or carried by someone other than you. Additionally, the spell ends if you move to a place more than 1,000 feet from the location where you cast it. Basically, you get 1d4 plus 1 rounds of prep.
Set it up. Knock him down.
Oh, fuck.
How would you, as a DM, use Orcus to do that? Who knows?
You'll find out.
How many armies of undead are you going to create in this 4 turns you've got in the time stop? I'd like to see or hear about it.
You will.
But wait, there's more, because there's wand spellcasting, and while holding the Wand of Orcus, Orcus could cast spells at a DC 18 save, some of which require charges. The wand has 7 charges to fuel those spells and regains 1d4 plus 3 daily at dawn. At will, Animate Dead as an action, Blight, Speak with the Dead. For 1 charge each, you can get Circle of Death or Finger of Death, making another appearance. Love to see that. Circle of Death is Oh, oh,
8d6 necrotic damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. That's a con save. And you can cast it at higher levels. When you use a spell slot of 7th level or higher, the damage increases by 2d6 for each spell slot above 6th.
the Lord of Undeath should be able to command some sort of death, right?
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yeah, it should.
And for just 2 of the 7 charges of the Wand of Orcus, you, as Orcus, can cast Power Word Kill.
And for those of you that know power word stun and other such, power word kill, you utter a single word of power, and you can compel one creature you can see within range of 60 feet. And if the creature you choose has 100 hit points or fewer, it just dies. Otherwise, the spell has no effect. There's no save, nothing. If that creature has less than 100, it's dead. No death saves, nothing. You are dead. Bye-bye, wizard. You're going down first.
Orcus could do that 3 times with the Wand of Orcus in a day. He's got 3 legendary actions from the options below. Orcus makes an attack, a tail, or a Necrotic Bolt attack. Or there's Creeping Death for you Metallica fans out there. Costs 2 actions of the legendary actions. Orcus chooses a point on the ground within 100 feet of him. A cylinder of swirling necrotic energy. 60 foot tall, and with a 10-foot radius, rises from that point and lasts until the end of Orcus's next turn, and creatures in that area have vulnerability to necrotic damage. Get out of the creepy cylinder. There's a lot of death here. That power word kill is fucking scary.
And the fact that you can do it 3 times a day.
That's fucking scary. What happens if you go to where he lives, Brady?
Well, if you go to where he lives, you're going to go to a fortress city of Naratir, which is on Thanatos, the lair of the abyss that he rules, surrounded by a moat fed by the river Styx. It's eerily quiet and cold city. Its streets are empty for hours at a time, and the central castle of Bone has interior walls of flesh and carpets made of woven hair. The city contains wandering undead, many of which are engaged in continuous battles with one another. Let's see what happens if you decide to fight him. In this entire city is his lair, not his castle. The entire city. Deadly Utterance. You thought 3 uses of power word kill was bad? On initiative count 20, his utterances cause one creature of his choice to be subjected to power word kill. Doesn't need to see the creature, but he's got to be aware they're in his city. Potentially every other round he can get a power word kill.
I don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. What else? What else do I? What else?
You can also get Grasp of Death as one of his lair actions. Orcus causes skeletal arms to rise from an area on the ground in a 20-foot square that he can see. They last until the next initiative count 20, and each creature in that area when the arms appear need to make a DC 23 strength saving throw or be restrained until the arms disappear or until Orcus releases them as a free action.
That's a hard save to beat.
Yeah.
That's a hard save. Like, that's potentially a very important member of your party down.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that strength-based aren't important, but that's a support class that's going down if he so chooses, and that's really worrisome.
There's another layer action. It's called Undead Servants. And Orcus causes up to 6 corpses within the layer to rise as skeletons, zombies, or ghouls. And these undead obey his telepathic commands, which can reach anywhere in the entire city. There's also regional effects, because hell yeah.
Just like a pack of 6 ghouls chasing you down.
Charnel Realm, I think I pronounced that word right. The air is filled with the stench of rotting flesh, and buzzing flies grow thick within the region.
Ugh.
That apparently is the entire city, because it doesn't say within the lair, because his lair is his entire city that he rules. Undead Beasts. Dead beasts periodically animate as undead mockeries of their former selves. Skeletal and zombie versions of the local wildlife are commonly seen in the area.
Nice.
And again, these effects fade over the course of 1d10 days. It's definitely going above Demogorgon. Sorry, Demogorgon, you've got a solid 3 seed.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Question is,
Is Zariel or Orcus? Shit. Oh, that I gotta go Orcus. I have to go Orcus, man. Like, what he can do, the time stop, the animate the undead, the possible every other round for power word kill as long as you're within his city is insane.
oh man,
The Conjure Undead, that its combined hit points don't exceed 500? Are you shitting me? 500?
that is a lot to summon. But man, Zariel is fucking strong and like not one I would want.
I don't
Like
want to.
can't necessarily summon the allies that Orcus can.
But Zariel can
Man,
take you one on one. But Orcus has almost as much health, almost as good of an AC, and can summon hordes of undead to his aid.
I mean, Zariel doesn't have just the outright kill
No.
that Orcus has. And especially as a layer action as well.
Yeah.
Ah,
Or Orcus
well,
takes that top seed.
I gotta tell you, it seems the dice didn't fail us today. Because it walked us through our top three in a nice 3-2-1 order. Ascending, of course. You gotta love how that works out sometimes. Any other thoughts, Brady?
I'm excited to see the later parts of our campaign with these monsters. Holy shit.
Uh,
I love all of these. I want to see some of the medium and lower CR monsters in this multiverse book because if these are this good, I cannot wait to see what else is out there.
yeah, you guys should definitely tell us what some of your favorites out of this book are. Maybe we'll kind of go over them and talk about what we like about them too. We're looking to find some kind of sleeper agent,
Yeah.
like we're looking to find some of the ones that are more dangerous than some of the digits are letting on. We'll be back with more D&D content every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to like us, comment, and subscribe. And from Brady and I here at Intoxicated Intellect, we look forward to hearing, reading your feedback. Until
Thank
next
you all
time,
so
guys.
much for your support. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye.